We're going to kind of celebrate here that we are coming to the end of April. I don't know about you, but that kind of snuck up on me. And so as we come to this conclusion of April, it's really a time for us to kind of take that pause and see where we've been this last month and where we want to go ahead as we venture into May. So, hi, Ron and Paula. Good to have you guys. So, as we kind of come out of, oh, Nancy, thank you for joining, and I'm glad to see you here for practice. So, often we hear that April showers bring May flowers, but I don't know if any of you have been out. April is my absolute favorite month. There's so much to celebrate. There's so much happening and rebirth in the month of April. And so I don't know about you, but I think that April is definitely filled with lots of flowers and lots of new life. And so I've been out as many days as I can, almost every day, to see what is blooming and what is coming to life. And certainly there is many, many, many wildflowers that are popping up in our forest here in Northeast Ohio, which are just so amazing. If you need any suggestions, please let me know. Happy to share that. But also, what's coming up from the earth is abundant. And then what is overhead and the birds singing and things that are flying around and the pollinators that are coming to those wildflowers are just absolutely abundant right now. And so as we start our practice, we're going to really kind of start in that space of kind of connecting with the earth. But today we're also going to really open up and kind of reach into that sky and kind of hover in the sky. We're going to take some flight today. So hope that you can grab some props. So if you have a wall space nearby, you'll see I don't really have much kind of like open wall space. So I've grabbed a chair. So you can do that. Or if you've got a partner that's really stable or a side of a table or a couch or whatever, you can certainly use that as we come off the floor at one point and we will practice our balance. So you might want to have something ready to help you navigate that as we take some flight. So as you're settling in and you're grabbing props, I just want to welcome you all to the Namaste Yoga Studio, our Facebook live sessions. And as you may have already experienced, they stay up on Facebook for you to view into the future. But if you don't want to kind of scroll through, we also have a link on our website that lists and has out all of the videos. So you can see that there. And as you navigate over to the Namaste Yoga Studio website, you'll also notice that we have a donation tab. And so I encourage you, I invite you, I thank you for considering to make any donation that seems right and true for you to be able to support the studio. And so all donations go to helping us pay our utilities and rent for the studio. So all of us instructors are giving of our time to bring our community together, and hopefully soon we will be able to be together in the studio space as well. So love to have your support, and just showing up here and being together in this platform is so much that we are grateful for every day. So tune in every day at 9 and 5:30 right here, and then you can always catch those replays. So I want us to kind of take a little journey, and in years not too long ago, we just celebrated the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. In 1970, April 22nd, there was the first Earth Day, and that really came off of the heels of a lot of folks kind of talking about what was going on and how we were interacting with our natural world. And one of my absolute heroes is Rachel Carson, maybe yours too. And in this book, Silent Spring, she really brought to light how we are interacting with the environment and some of the effects. And one of the um, species that was really noticed as being strongly affected was the bald eagle. And some of the chemicals that were being released into the environment were really making their eggs very fragile, and they weren't able to sustain repopulation. So this past week, though, I was able to, or last week, I guess, really, was able to find a report from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, what shared their data from 2020 census that they did on bald eagles. And so they did about 250 sightings or recordings of some data around bald eagle population in Ohio. And what they had found is that there was a 152% increase in the amount of bald eagle populations in Northeast Ohio from the last time they did the census, which was in 2012. And so we're now up to 707 bald eagles in the state of Ohio. And if you go back to what was happening in 1970 and there before when Silent Spring was written, our eagle populations were so low, they were considered endangered. And so we've been able to help them be successful and be resilient. And so we're going to kind of celebrate them today. We're going to celebrate those bald eagles and that love and connection, that give and take that we can have with the environment. So I'm going to invite you to come into Hastasana pose. I might have pronounced that wrong. Jolene can correct me later. But it's melting heart pose. So Anahastasana. And we want to open up some of this heart space for giving and receiving to our natural world. And so as you come into melting heart pose, you can come into what looks like puppy pose. And I'll move on to the mat. You can let those knees be right underneath the hips. Walk the hands out further and come down onto the earth. If the earth feels really far away, you might want to grab that block or those books or a pillow that you had to allow the earth to come up. And as you come here, you can find the bottoms of your toes, if that feels okay, for a little stretch in your feet, or let the tops of your toes settle here. So any amount. You can also sink back a little bit deeper if you'd like. And coming into melting our heart down into the earth, connecting with Mother Earth here. I'm going to start our timer to allow us to come into a place of getting centered and anchored and rooted into the earth here for 3 minutes. And as we're here, I just want to invite you to notice what is happening in your headspace. There's thoughts floating around. And as you're here, your forehead make contact with the earth or some kind of prop. And just that gesture sends a message to that thinking brain, that prefrontal cortex, to kind of take a little pause here. But as you hit that pause, be aware of what those thoughts are. Be aware of kind of connecting here to the earth and what that feels like for you to come into this grounding pose, kind of bowing into the earth. As you survey the landscape of the mind, notice if there's a word or a phrase or an image, a person that keeps kind of circling in the mind. It is flying around in that headspace. As you make those observations, I invite you to simply stay curious, stay observant, without trying to kind of continue the chain of thought and linking as to why you had that thought or that image, that phrase. Staying in a place of observing, of being curious of what's in that mind space. Staying in these postures, these yin postures that we'll hold for about 3 minutes, is a chance for us really to survey those thoughts, those patterns in the body, those sensations. So for just a few more rounds of breath, I invite you to just notice again, what is the chatter in the mind, the chitti vritti, the mind stuff. Awesome. Begin to walk your hands underneath your shoulders. Uncurl your toes if they were curled, and then just take a little tap to the tops of the feet. Starting with either arm, begin to raise it up to the sky. Take flight here, and then settle the arm back down. We'll find that on the other side. So as we inhale, raise the arm up. As we exhale, lower back to the earth. We'll do that 2 more times on each side. Lifting, now your range of motion will dictate for you how high. On that inhale, flap that wing up, lower it back down. One more time, each side with your breath. So we'll interject some movement into a few more yin poses, and then we'll transition to coming to stand. So as we come into our next pose, we're going to find sleeping swan pose. And so allow one knee to be underneath the chest. And I'm going to start with my left side. That's the yin side of the body. You can let the right leg or whatever your back leg is be long, and finding yourself in a comfortable position. So maybe your hands can come up onto fingertips or onto blocks, and find yourself upright here. Feel the crown of your head lifted, and then stay here for swan pose or lower down for sleeping swan, with the knee and the ankle creating a straight line. You can peek back and see that you have a straight line in that back leg. And as you lower down, you can come to any spot that feels right. You can stay up. Perhaps you're lowering down to the forearms. Maybe it's on a block or a cushion. Maybe you're all the way sleeping swan, all the way down onto the earth. We're going to have this be a little bit shorter. So we will go for about 1.5 minutes here on sleeping swan on each side. As we come into this position, we come into a little more compression into the hips. In, you're feeling it, that compression in to the abdomen, those inner organs kind of getting a little squeeze. And so as we've kind of surveyed the mind space, as we let that to be what it is, I invite you for this posture to notice if there's some way that you want to kind of hold on to some of that mind space to carry you through the practice. Or if there is a release, if there's something to let go of in the mind, perhaps redirect it to the breath or a body sensation, or to a word or phrase that will help you to navigate this day, this practice, this letting go of April and transitioning into a new month of May, which might bring with it lots of changes as we navigate the next phase of where we are in what is right now going on as the pandemic. And so hips are a place we hold lots of stuff. as we come into transitioning from one month to a new month, or one pose to a new pose. Notice what we hold on to and what we can let go of. As we come out of this swan pose or sleeping swan pose, wherever you settled, come into that tabletop shape again and extend what was the bent knee out long. You can curl and circle the toes, maybe bend and straighten the leg. Perhaps for you, you're finding that you want to open up for a little twist here. Maybe it's a circle of that knee, kind of getting some movement back into that joint, that hip socket, and then coming into a place of stillness. Perhaps for you, you want to come back to melting heart. Maybe it's child's pose. And just pause here for 2 more breaths. When we come to asymmetrical poses, we can really notice the effects from one side to the other. So we'll try to even that out. Coming into sleeping swan on your second side. As you do so, starting upright, allow yourself to take that look back for a straight long leg. The front knee can be right about chest distance, and then the ankle is right aligned from the knee. Staying upright in swan, using some props if you'd like, and then coming in as an option to our sleeping swan. As you settle here, continue to allow the mind to evaluate where you want to have that headspace this morning. And what are we holding on to that we want to carry into this new month, to this new day? What is it for us to let go of? Again, using these first poses, these first yin postures to help us kind of navigate, to allow some inner dialogue to be noticed, to be felt. As you stay in to that swan pose or sleeping swan pose, feel how this posture gives a sensation to you. Maybe it's a little bit of a sensation of like holding on, the little tightness that is created. Again, without trying to judge that, be aware and observe that sensation. As we come into these yin postures and we hold them for a depth of time, we get that compression. And as we come out, we can feel that recirculation of energy, of blood flow. So we're going to begin to do that. So begin to come out of your swan or your sleeping swan. That bent knee can become straight, finding a table position, 3-legged table, stretching back that leg that was just bent, circling your knee. Again, finding some movement here, maybe bending that knee into the chest and lengthening it. Maybe bending it, twisting open that hip, maybe with some circles. Lots of options for you to explore here, for you to take flight into the posture, into the movement that serves you best. And then you can come into a child's pose, puppy pose, or I invite you to come all the way down to the belly, if that feels okay and safe for you to do so. And as you come down, stacking the hands so that you've got some breathing room, either with flat rocks here, or maybe there are big round rocks by rolling your fists together, and allow your forehead to now press down onto your hands. And just take a survey here. We've kind of surveyed and taken flight of the mind space, what we are holding onto intentionally or what we want to release. And then we come into a noticing of the body as we're here in a posture that seems to be doing nothing, but allowing us to take a pause, to release, to settle here, to resurvey our landscape, maybe as if you were flying over the earth, taking a look down and seeing what it is that you wish to see. If that shows up for you as an intention or what we call a sankalpa, some way that you want to kind of create a new vision in your life as we transition to a new month, a new day, what does that look like? To help us take that flight, we'll draw the left hand forward. The right leg will lift up and stretch back a little longer. And then any amount, keeping your right hand anchored, lift the left arm, lift the right leg, keep looking down. And as you inhale and expand from fingertips to toes, make some space. And then exhale, settling it down. We'll find that 2 more times. A little bit more movement, maybe with a pause at the top of the inhale as you lengthen up. And then as you exhale and lower down, find a pause at the bottom of the exhale. Those pauses are called the kumbhaka. Inhale, rising up, pausing in the kumbhaka, place of pause. Exhale, lower down. And then as we settle here, begin to transition to the other side, moving around some things so you can make some space here, drawing up the right arm and the left leg back, stretching from fingertips to toes. Begin to pause here for a little longer and exaggerate this expansion from the middle of you. Exhale and lower. Inhale, rise up, find a pause. Exhale and lower. Enjoy that pause. One more time, taking flight here with the right arm, the left leg, and then settling back to earth. You can continue with an alternation, or perhaps you're feeling that you want to lift both arms, both legs. Take some flight here. Keep looking down onto the earth as if you were hovering and flying over the earth. Pausing here as you lift both arms and both legs, or alternating. Taking 2 more breaths here. Feeling the lift of the back body, that body of faith. And then as you land down onto the earth, let it be soft, let it be sweet. Maybe your forehead is resting on the hands, or turn your head to your favorite side. And then you can turn the tops of your feet to the sky, bending your knees, and then finding a little movement of feet to side to give a massage to that low back. Building some back strength here so that we can take flight. We can have faith that we can take the next flight path, even if We've got some headwinds ahead of us. We do it with strength and courage, confidence. And then we're going to transition to a tabletop pose here. And as you come into tabletop pose, make it a little movement perhaps, shifting back and forth, maybe a look over to the left and to the right. We're going to come into thread the needle, and this thread the needle can be, again, to the depth that's right for you, or taking another shoulder opener if that works. So we'll come back to our hands sort of at that melting heart, maybe a little bit like a handprint back towards our knees. And then starting with the left side, allow the left hand to come up to the sky and then threading it underneath so that our left palm is to the sky and our left temple finds the earth, a block or a book. As we come into this shape, opening up the shoulder socket, back of the heart, perhaps for here, you want to really notice where the breath is in the back body. Coming to play and observe those kumbakas, those pauses. We'll stay here for 5 more breaths. Maybe you're playing with extending the leg. Noticing how the breath can be that anchor to navigate us, to help us stay focused on our path, to help us have faith that things will pass and new opportunities, new strengths will come with each breath. When you're ready to prepare yourself, the arm extended forward comes back underneath the shoulder, and then reach up that bottom arm to the sky. You can take a peek up if that feels okay. And then again, shifting a little bit here into your puppy, to your child's pose, back up to table. Maybe even coming off and rolling the shoulder a bit. And then just taking some place, some position that is symmetrical. Same on one side as the other. So you can pause and observe the effects of that opening of the shoulder. It's also opening of our heart space. Anahata is the heart chakra. It's the color of green. It's the emotion of love and compassion that so often we extend out our hands, our giving hands. Feel that sensation in the shoulder, down the fingers, back up to the heart. And let's see if we can even that out, that sensation, that opening on the right side. So finding yourself back into table, take the hands like 1 or 1.5 handprints forward, raising up the right arm. Take a peek up if that's okay, and then thread it through. As you settle in, find the temple, the right temple onto the earth. Find some evenness in the hips, evenness in the inhale, the pause, the exhale, and the pause. Some evenness of feeling that breath in the front body and in the back body. Great job. We'll take about 4 more breaths here. If you're playing and extending the left leg, do so to find a little adventure that serves you. Stay there or come back to bent knee. As we all take flight, we can do it in our own unique way, supporting one another. Two more breaths here. Feeling this opening in the shoulder, in the heart. And then allowing yourself to gently press back up. Find that right arm to the sky, gaze up with it. And then coming again, your choice. Maybe you're shifting from child's pose to a table to a cat-cow if that feels good for you. Some movement here. And eventually we'll make our way into a seat that can be with our knees bent and our heels right underneath our seat. Or you can come into an easy seat cross-legged in front. And then just take a moment to roll those shoulders forward and back. And then settle here for a moment and just feel the effects of the postures that we've done so far. Getting into opening our hips, our heart. Here, I want you to find a place to align your hips and your heart and your head. If you need to wiggle around a little bit to find that center balance point. And then we're going to bring our hands to a butterfly position. So you can cross your thumbs, let your fingers spread, and then allow those wings of your butterfly here, or we can call those our eagle wings for today. Allow them to come onto your chest. Maybe find a little gentle tap of each of the hands. So this heart space, Anahata, it's the chakra of the heart, the color green, the emotion of love and compassion. It's also a balancing center from the mind space, the spiritual realm, the sky, from the throat to the head, to the top of the head. And then below the heart, we have the physical. We have the individual aspects of our core, our solar plexus, our sacral chakra, and our root chakra, helping us to connect physically, grounding to the earth. You can pause your tapping and then come back to feeling the heart space, that balancing center. It's a gateway between the physical, the spiritual, the mental, from the individual, that is the lower chakras, to the universal, which is the higher chakras. From your heart space here, inhale, open up those hands that we've opened up and thread the needle. You maybe want to bend the elbows and then just taking a little bit more of an arc of the back, allowing the heart to come forward, the head slightly back. And then exhale, hands come and cup the knees, round the chin to the chest. And then inhale, open up. Maybe the hands stay down or they open wide, or those goalpost arms. Find those wings that serve you, and then exhale, round. One more time with the breath. Inhale, open up your wings here as we take flight. And then exhale, connect back to self. Inhale and lengthening the spine, kind of allowing some wiggle, some movement. And then we're going to come to the tips of our toes, if that feels okay to stay here for about 30 seconds. And in this tiptoe, maybe your fingers are on the earth or a prop. Maybe you're bringing over that chair to start to get us ready here to find some balance. And finding here, as we root down into the earth, we allow those lower third chakras to help us stay present and grounded, anchored. Feeling that heart space to help connect us from the physical, from the earth to the sky. Feeling the throat and the top of the head aligned here right over the heart. Finding tiptoe pose can give a lot of sensation into the soles of the feet, into the back of the heels and the ankles. So if you've got any plantar fasciitis, you might be really thanking me right now or later. And then slowly start to make your way into a forward fold. So in this forward fold, we can bend the knees a lot, allow the head to drape forward. If we've got that chair or the couch or some kind of ottoman or cushion to help us lower down here, bend the knees. And then as you exhale, see if you can straighten the knees any amount. Maybe the hands come to the earth and the top of the head folds down. Inhale up, halfway, bend those knees a lot. Hands can be on the ground, on the thighs, or up on the prop. Exhale and fold. We'll find that with a little more movement. Inhale, rise up halfway. Exhale and fold. And as you fold, you can keep those bends and the knee to be really generous, or maybe you're feeling open in your hamstrings. And if you'd like, you can take a clasp of the hand, interconnecting the hands, and let the hands kind of drape over towards the top of the head as you fold here. You can stay here. If you've got any issue with blood pressure, high or low, or vertigo, you can bend those knees and then keep those hands anchored back if that feels okay, or just bring the hands to the knees. I'm going to find 2 more breaths wherever you've landed, and then we'll take flight, nice and easy and slowly. Find another breath to prepare, and then root your feet down, rise up, grounding those feet, allow the circulation and the blood flow to come into the feet. Pause here, and then when you are ready, inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, the hands by your side. I'm just noticing here for you if there's any extra energy flowing through. And as we come to stand, we can find that chair, that wall, that prop, and come into the tips of the toes here. If it feels okay to stay on the tips of your toes and let go of the wall or the chair, do so to clasp the hands above you, and then exhale, lower the feet down. Keeping the hands overhead, fingers interlaced, arch over to your left. Inhale back up to center. Exhale over to your right. Inhale, come back up. Spread the fingers. Let your palms be facing away from your face, so towards me. Take a look up to the hands, spread the fingers, and then rooting through your feet, connecting your core to your spine. Inhale, lift your heart a little bit more. So ribs stay hugged in, heart lifts, and then exhale the hands by your side. Just take a little moment here to find some stillness. Bring the fingers to a close to contain the energy within. Maybe coming to that butterfly, hands on the heart. Just connecting here with your strong stability, your foundation, your Tadasana, your mountain pose. You can stay right here for the next bit of sequence if you like, and just play with hovering one foot and then the other. And just taking a little march and then coming back to your mountain. Or if you'd like to find some balancing play with us today, we're going to find some eagle positioning. So in this eagle, you have the choice of a chair or a wall. You'll see me using the chair. You can also grab that block, and we can use the block as well to anchor us down a little bit more into the earth. And so we'll start here with allowing the left toes to be grounded down, the whole of the left foot. And you can find that block right into the baby toe side of the right foot. If you're using that prop, the chair or the wall, you can use that with your hand as well. And so any amount, begin to just lift it up the right leg. And notice the connection rooting down from the core, that third chakra, down to our roots, the bottom of our feet. And then feel your heart space helping you to lift your head, your heart to the sky. If you would like to take that wrap around, we're crossing over and wrapping either to touch the tips of the toes to the block or wrapping the toes around the back of the calf. You can stay right here. Maybe the hands come to a prayer position or back to butterfly position. Or maybe you want to find those eagle arms. As you wrap the eagle arm, you'll wrap the arm that matches the leg that's up. That arm will go down. So I have my right arm will be down, my left arm will be on top of it, finding the wrap. And so as you come into this posture, maybe you think a little deeper, you connect down those toes to the block, you root down those lower three chakras into the earth, the bottom parts of our body, our lower limbs. And then from the heart space, lift up the elbows if that's okay for you, lifting to the sky. Stay here for 2 more breaths if that's available for you. Remember, you can stay totally using that prop, that support. Keep the heart lifted, keep the hips sinking. And then wherever you are, begin to kind of flap those arms, move the shoulders, playing a little bit, maybe lifting that knee, unwind it, and take some flight back with a bent knee now coming into a straight leg. It's like an airplane pose here, and then coming back to mountain. Whew, shake that out. Maybe coming to the tips of the toes and lower, or lifting and rolling the ankles. So I wish I could see all of you taking that beautiful eagle pose and taking flight in your own unique way. And if you've wobbled out of it, awesome. I hope you had some fun in playing with that. We'll try this on the other side. Again, as we did in the beginning, kind of letting go of judgment of how things are going, but simply staying present and observing the experience. So as you begin to lift your left leg and let it hover, notice the connection down the straight leg grounding. Notice the connection up to the sky. Remember what I said, you can always just stay in mountain pose. This is the most excellent balance pose and really help us to feel this connection to earth and sky as well. If you've got that knee bent in front and you want to take the wrap, you can find the toes onto the block that will be on the pinky toe side of the standing leg. Perhaps finding that support, turning to face that wall or chair. Maybe you've got a really steady partner at home to help you. And then any amount more, see if you can sink in. See if any amount more you can lift the heart. Keep those ribs and the belly muscles engaged and helping you to stabilize. This is that solar plexus, which is the color yellow, that helps us really have connection to our inner willpower, our strength here. Feeling this centered, balancing chakra of the heart between the lower three and the upper three, feeling that expand. Maybe those arms are wrapping. The arm underneath will be the same side as what leg is on top. And finding 2 more breaths here as you sink into the lower half, as we raise up and take flight in the upper. This is the dance. This is the balance of our work here, is to stay balanced in kind of rootedness, present moment, and then that dance to the sky, what is ahead, where we're going in life, where we're taking flight. As you start to unravel those arms, maybe you find a flapping of the wing, and maybe that leg that was wrapped around becomes straight and long behind you, taking a flight here. Eventually making your way back to your mountain pose, finding the tips of the toes and lower. As we come into settling, I just want you to find a place before we move back down to our mat to stay in this mountain pose. Hand can come to the heart and to the belly, or maybe both hands to the heart. Feeling any amount of heartbeat that maybe feels a little elevated after we've done these strong, courageous balancing poses. And here in the space, I invite you to imagine a bald eagle. Maybe you've seen one recently. I know a couple of you that are on here today have seen some bald eagles recently. Imagine what that looked like, that feeling, that awe. Whatever words come to mind as you come into that image of that eagle, let that surface now. And whether you're imagining the eagle perched in a tree or taking flight, what sensations, what feelings kind of does that bring up for you? To know that they've made such an amazing comeback from different setbacks. So they've really been allowed to flourish because of love and care that we humans have allowed as well. Just taking in that magnificence of those bald eagles. And then turning that energy and that focus of what it is of those bald eagles that makes them so inspiring to you, and turning that back towards yourself. As we come here, you can stay in that mountain pose if that serves you. You can come into a seat, or you can come onto your back into fish pose. So for this final posture, you might want to take a block or a prop and come into fish pose, either without it or with it right underneath the middle part of the back. Remember, lots of choices. You can say sitting up if that works for you better. And as we come into this posture, I'll set our timer here. The heart, if you've chosen the fish pose, the heart will be elevated. The top of the head may find the earth. You can certainly do this without a block and use your elbows to help anchor you here to lift the heart. If that's not feeling right for you, you can simply allow the whole back body to be on the earth, but feel a little lift of the heart. The toes can be together. Coming back to Anahata, the fourth chakra of the heart space, opening it, allowing it to give and receive love and compassion. For the winged things, for the fin things, for the four-legged, the two-legged, maybe the 16-legged or 8-legged, all of those things that are around us. giving and receiving our love to them so that they can all thrive, so they all may be well. Feeling the space of wellness within you. Feeling the space of expansion, of groundedness, connection. As you're in this fish pose, knowing that you are part of the ecosystem, just as important as human or eagle, any other apex species. Knowing that this fish may give life and nourishment to that eagle or to you as food and sustenance. Reminds us to give and receive all that love that's around us within nature, within our true nature. Feeling this heart space open. Allow yourself to come off of the block or props and roll onto one side, and then gently make your way into a seat. Taking your time, pausing within the breath, within a posture. And then as we root into the earth, we rise up. As we connect with ourself here, we connect with those living things on this planet with us, those that are more connected onto the earth, to those that are taking flight in the sky. May we be connected to all of those things in mind, body, and soul. May we stay connected to ourselves, to our physical, to the universal. And so together we close our practice with the word that connects us in honoring one another and those many flight paths that we are all on. And so together we say namaste. Thank you for joining this morning and taking flight and being in space of honoring and observing those before us that have allowed for awareness and awakening to what we are doing, into connection with other living things. And so may this practice continue to help you take flight into your day and into the month of May. Namaste.